Hello my friends, HM here. I make videos about topics that are important for whether the future of humanity will be better or worse. Tesla Investor Day 2023 revealed a bunch of new technologies that Tesla has developed for the production of their next generation vehicles that promises a 50% cost reduction over current auto manufacturing. In my opinion, the most interesting new technology that Tesla presented was a new permanent magnet electric motor that do not use any rare earth elements for its permanent magnets. This new Tesla magnet is super important because China today make over 90% of the world's rare earth permanent magnets that are used in nearly all battery electric vehicles and countless of other products. Tesla's new magnet will break China's monopoly and eliminate a huge supply chain risk for the free and democratic world that must not depend on authoritarian regimes like China for its critical supplies. Tesla did not reveal much about how they accomplished to make strong permanent magnets without any rare earth elements, but I think I found out what Tesla's breakthrough magnet is all about. With that said, let's get to it. Okay. So at Tesla's Investor Day 2023, they announced this new magnet for their permanent magnet motors. And what makes it revolutionary is that it combines three things together here. And the first is that it uses no rare earth elements. That's not especially interesting because you can easily make magnets that don't have rare earth elements in them. But they also say it's less costly to make, implying rare earth is not substituted with some other costly elements. And that's also not so fantastic because almost any magnet that doesn't contain rare earth are cheaper to make than rare earth permanent magnets because rare earth materials are quite expensive. But then the killer combination come here. It has higher efficiency. Tesla say it has higher efficiency. You can see this slide here from their presentation at this Investor Day. It says lower cost, higher efficiency drive units using zero rare earth. That higher efficiency is really something because it implies that magnets have higher magnetic strength than these rare earth magnets with rare earth elements that are typically this magnet here, neodymium, ferron, boron magnet. Here the rare earth element is this neodymium. And it has a magnetic strength of 30 to 55 MGOEs. And it means Tesla has developed a battery that has higher magnetic strength than these 30 to 55 because it has higher efficiency. Generally, the more powerful your magnetic field is, the higher efficiency the motor will have. Also, Tesla cannot lie about this at an official event for investors because they are bound by law to tell the truth at these investor events, so it has to be more efficient, this electric motor they have developed here. Maybe I should also tell quickly about what kind of electric motors there are. There are many electric motors, but I'll just show you the two electric motors that Tesla are using in their cars. They use an induction motor. That's the one shown here on the right side of this illustration. And an induction motor doesn't have any permanent magnets at all. All the magnetic fields are created electrically by running a current around a piece of iron, then is magnetized by this current. And there's a stator, that's the ring here, outer ring, that is stationary. That's why they call it a stator. And then there's a rotor in the middle here that rotates. That's why they call it a rotor. And the electric motor that Tesla is using is a synchronous motor. That means that the magnetic fields that are generated here in this stator, they run around and around and around. They change the north and the south pole continuously here and control that. And it runs around at the same speed as this rotor inside the stator is running. And here on the other side, we have a permanent magnet motor. It basically is the same principle. It has a stator around a rotor, but in the rotor, the magnetic fields are permanent. They are created by using permanent magnets and not electric fields. But otherwise, it functions pretty much the same. And Tesla, they started out with the Model S that used two induction electric motors, both for the rear drive and for the front drive. But now for all of Tesla's vehicles, if they have all-wheel drive, then they use a permanent magnet motor at the back and an induction motor at the front. And the advantage of combining both a permanent magnet motor and an induction motor is that permanent magnet motors are normally more efficient at low speeds or low torque, whereas induction motors are more efficient at high torque or high speeds. So basically Tesla can get more efficiency out of their car cars and more range for the same battery by making a combination of these two motors. And at low speeds, they let the permanent magnet motor make most of the pull for the car. But then if you hit gas pedal, no pun intended, then the induction motor will kick in with some extra power. Or if you are driving very fast at the highway, well, then the induction motor is also doing most of the pulling of the car. So I think that's enough here for this slide. Okay, so why is this huge news? Well, it's big news because electric motors and also electric generators, they can now be made at less cost and have higher efficiency. So in the future, we will see that battery electric vehicles will cost less and they'll have longer range and more power because of this invention. But also wind turbines will be able to make more electricity at lower cost. Maybe I should say here, because I'm from Denmark, 55% of our power supply comes from wind turbines. So that's the highest in anywhere in the world. So we will benefit from this quite a lot because most of these wind turbines do use permanent magnets with rare earth in them, and now they'll get more efficient. And also I should say that wind turbines are the lowest cost way of producing electricity today. You are down to about 2 to 3 cents per kilowatt hour in good wind locations. And that's cheaper than gas power plants and coal power plants and also nuclear. So it's quite important, and now electricity will get even cheaper as a result. But there are countless of other products that use strong magnets with rare earth elements in them. It will be heat pumps that heats people's houses and heat businesses and government offices. And we also use it in refrigerators and air conditioning systems. And we use it in vacuum cleaners and all kind of industrial machinery that needs electric motors. So it's huge. It's pretty much everywhere. And of course, all these products will be cheaper and use less electricity because of this new Tesla magnet that will be copied by other companies who wish to stay in business. Of course, you need the best systems, of course, and not the second best if you want to survive in a competitive landscape. And Tesla will, of course, license this magnet technology to other companies, and eventually the patent will run out and everybody can use it without paying Tesla anything for it. So it's quite exciting, I think. So one thing is that the Tesla magnet is important for a lot of products that we consume and our whole electricity supply. We use permanent magnets with rare earth materials all around, and now it will get more efficient. That's important. Also, it has geopolitical impact, and it's not difficult to see why here. The world has seen a doubling of demand from 2017 to 2022 of this rare earth materials, and we can see it in this graph up here where it has increased from 132,000 tons annually to 300,000 tons annually. And this massive increase here, that has happened because of an explosion in the production of battery electric vehicles, but also wind turbines. They're mainly responsible for this growth here. But the problem is that China, they mine 70% of all rare earth elements. We can see that in this graph up here on the right side. That China is 70%, then United States is 14.3%, then Australia is 6%, Myanmar 4%, Thailand 2.3%, and etc. And what's even more important is that China do 85% of rare earth processing or refining. Once you have the ore that you mine, then you need to refine that in order to concentrate it into pure rare earth elements such as neodymium. And that's what this is about. 85% of all this processing and refining capacity is located in China. That's a lot of power they have, this country, but it gets even worse. China manufactures over 90% of the world's high-strength rare earth permanent magnets. That's not good. We have just seen how many products where we need rare earth permanent magnets. It's pretty much everywhere. And China makes 90% of this. What if they cut supply? What if we have a situation where China says, well, we don't want to supply you with these magnets anymore? Then our economy will shut down. It's a huge crisis. I'm kind of angry that we have allowed this to happen. You can see from this figure over here that used to be United States and other countries in the Western world who produced all of these rare earth elements. But then in 1985 or something, China began to participate in this production, and then it only took until year 2000, and then they were completely dominating it, and they've been dominating it ever since. It's okay in a world where there's peace and we are friends, but the war here in Ukraine, where Russia suddenly decides to attack a democratic and free country and try to conquer it. And now also China threatening to attack and conquer Taiwan has shown us that this world is not peacefully, under the surface lies violent tendencies among the rulers of the authoritarian countries, and they might change their opinion if they think that now they are strong enough to play with their muscles and send in their armies. And we should not allow China to dominate such an important material. I'm very much against that. And this shows another reason why it's a really big thing that Tesla has invented, a magnet that can make this rare earth elements redundant for making high strength magnets. It's really, really important for geopolitical reasons and for our democracy and protection of our democracy. Okay. So Tesla has also been very secretive about their magnets here. They're even secretive about the magnets that they currently use that uses rare earth elements. This Investor Day, they showed this slide here that says their current permanent magnets, they use rare earth elements and they use 500 grams of a rare earth element they just pronounce rare earth 1, and then 10 grams of an element they call it rare earth 2, and another 10 grams of rare earth 3. So they don't even tell us which rare earth elements they use. I have down here, I have shown the periodic table with all the elements in nature as we know them. And there are about 17 rare earth elements that are called rare earth elements. It's not that they are particularly rare, but I don't know how they got that name. Probably because we only mine a little bit of it, tiny amounts compared to how much we mine when it comes to other metals like iron and copper and aluminium. They are counted in many, many millions of tons. But anyway, I also Googled to see if anybody else on the internet had found out or made any good speculation about what could it be, this mystifying Tesla magnet. And I haven't really been able to find any good explanation of what it could be. We should understand that strong magnets with rare earths, there are these neodymium, ferron, boron magnets. They have a magnetic strength of 30 to 55 MGOEs. And then the most common non-rare earth magnet, they are called ferrite magnets. It's basically rust or ferron oxides, that's rust mixed with some other elements. That's not magnetic in itself, but then they are magnetized by putting a strong electromagnetic field over it, and then they align the particles in this magnet here, ferron magnet, so that it becomes magnetic. That's how they are produced. But it can only get to a magnetic strength of 4 MGOEs. And that's only 1/10 of the permanent magnets that contain rare earth material. So definitely, I don't think it's that. I found another, that's a startup called Niron Magnetics. They are working on a magnet that's called ferron 16 nitrogen 2 type of material. And they want to launch that to the market in 2024, that's next year, with a magnetic strength of 10 MGOE. And then a year after, they claim that they will launch another version with 30 MGOEs magnetic strength. But that was the highest strength I could see among some experimental magnets out there. So it really can't be any of these two kinds of magnet, I think, because Tesla's magnet, it was told it was more efficient, and that means it has to likely have an MGOE that's over 50, so it can beat these magnets with rare earth elements in them. So what is this magnet that Tesla has invented? What could it be? Well, in my search for what Tesla's magnet could be, my best bet is that it's synthesized tetrataenite. And I'll tell you shortly why I was convinced by that. It was because of an academic paper I found that seems to have synthesized this in bulk, and that matches with the knowledge that Tesla has inside the company. But anyway, tetrataenite, what is it? It's an ultra-rare iron-nickel alloy that is found in meteorites. So far, it has really only been found in meteorites. And here's a rock of this tetrataenite from a meteoroid. That's how it looks like. And here's a microscopic image of it where you zoom in and look at the smaller structures here. It has also been theorized that these meteorites, they make tetrataenite by cooling slowly over millions of years in weightless space to form the unique crystalline structure that is tetrataenite. And you can see this is a crystalline structure by looking at this image. And researchers all over the world have actually been trying for decades to synthesize tetrataenite because it has these attractive magnetic strength characteristics. But they have only been successful in making microscopic samples of tetrataenites, and they have done that by radiating iron-nickel alloys with neutrons and electron beams. So that's not a viable way to make. We need to make thousands of tons of this, and you can only make microscopic samples by using very powerful neutron and electron beams that uses enormous amounts of electricity. Well, then you just can't make it. It will be way too costly. But then this paper here, what I was talking about, from October 2022, it's a very new paper. There are some academics who, perhaps by luck, they have been able to synthesize bulk volumes of tetrataenite simply by forming it in seconds using conventionally cast methods with presence of trace amounts of phosphor and carbon. And the authors, because they've been able to create large amounts of tetrataenite with this apparently simple method, they now question that tetrataenite can only form by slow cooling these alloys over millions of years. They think it's formed this way, that they have done it with trace amounts of phosphor. Now, I would say one thing, why have nobody else found out? It is almost too simple. You have iron and nickel alloy and then put a little phosphor, and then suddenly you get tetrataenite. Someone else must have tried that before them and not succeeded. So why have they succeeded? Well, I know a little bit about physics. It kind of interests me. The boiling point of phosphor is very low. It's like 300 degrees Celsius. So it's much lower than the boiling point of iron and nickel. So if you have a molten iron-nickel alloy, and this formation of tetrataenite requires that there are phosphors mixed in it, then you probably need a very special temperature and also a very special pressure, and also you need to blow some of this phosphor through this resolution and then stir it quickly around and then quickly cool it in order to form this tetrataenite. All these conditions, I think, is necessary to make it, and I think this, you could say, small window of opportunity for making it, that's why nobody else have discovered it before. It has only perhaps been luck, or maybe these researchers knew something about what they were looking for and they had this idea from what they otherwise knew about materials that they might be able to synthesize it that way. Anyway, they seem to have done it. They have published a paper on it that have been peer-reviewed, I believe. It looked like it was peer-reviewed, and I have a link to it in my presentation that you can follow the links below this video, and then you can find it yourself and read it. But anyway, this is spot on with Tesla's known fields of expertise. Tesla is known for having the best metallurgical team, and they're also known for being experts in conventional cast production. They have these gigacasts where they make a cast of the rear end, but also now of the front end of the Tesla vehicles in Model Y, and they're going to do it with Model 3 and also with the Cybertruck in the future. And Tesla's metallurgical team, they invented a special alloy, aluminium alloy, to make it even possible to make such large castings for their vehicles. And they also made new ways of steel for Starship so that they can produce Starship in SpaceX. So they're really experts in this. But it's right in the field of expertise of Tesla to have knowledge about this. And I think this is what it is. They synthesize it the same way. But we'll find out if my bet on what Tesla magnet is, whether that bet is right or not, when the YouTube channel Monroe Live will do a teardown of Tesla's new motor. There's a YouTube channel called Monroe Live. It's a company, Monroe Associates, and they do teardowns of products, all kind of products, vehicles, airplanes, you name it. And they sell reports, detailed reports about what they find to competitors of these products who wants to spy a little bit on how their competitors are making their products. But they also make some YouTube videos that are telling the rest of us a little bit about what is up and down with these products. And at the first opportunity to tear down Tesla's new electric motor, Monroe Live will report about it for sure, and then we'll know whether really it is tetrataenite. They'll find out about that right away. So I'm looking forward to that. And I will also make a new video about it when we have that result. So that'll be a follow-up video I'm definitely going to make here and post it on my channel. Okay, so let's talk about the economics. Tesla said that their upcoming permanent magnet drive unit can be made for about $1,000, including cost for needed power electronics and gearbox. They have it here in this slide, $1,000. Is that cheap or expensive? Well, of course it depends on how powerful this engine is, but we should probably assume that it's the same as the 208 kilowatts power that are used in the permanent magnet rear drive unit for the most current Model 3. It'll be comparable to that, plus minus, I don't know, 20 kilowatts. And then Monroe and Associate CEO Curry Steuben estimates that a similar drive unit normally costs $2,000. So it's a big thing, really, if Tesla can do it for $1,000 in the future. Tesla also said they would be able, with all the technologies they develop for the next vehicles, they would be able to produce these vehicles at a 50% cost reduction. So that's also a good reason to believe that, okay, it probably costs $2,000 normally with conventional technology, and then with this new drive unit, it's $1,000, as they say it would be. But how does that relate back to the rare earth elements that are used for the permanent magnets? Well, we saw that Tesla said they used 500 grams of one rare earth element and 10 grams of another, and another 10 grams of a third element. But those 500 grams, it's almost 100% sure that it's neodymium, because most magnets that are made with rare earth metals, they use a lot of this neodymium, and I don't think Tesla's any different here. And that neodymium, I looked it up, what was the current price as of today with neodymium, and it's traded in Chinese currency, so I had to look that up also to translate it into US dollars, and it's about $106 per kilo currently. It used to be more than double of that just 1 year ago, but now it has dropped in price, and quite frankly, after Tesla announced that they have made this magnet, that's right here, it dropped further to 10-15% the price of neodymium. So they are kind of anticipating the market that, okay, demand was probably not going to rise as much as they expected in the future and keep the prices up. Anyway, so half a kilo of that would be $50 savings per drive unit, and that cannot explain the $1,000 savings that is expected on this drive unit from Tesla. So what else could explain it? Well, Tesla also told that Investor Day that they had been able to reduce their use of silicon carbide in their power electronics by 75%. That's a large reduction, and it's from silicon carbide. It's a very expensive material to make, so of course that also saves some money, but still we cannot get to $1,000 in savings. So most of that savings will come from efficient production machinery that Tesla has developed for its factories. They say also in this slide here from Investor Day that they had been able to make a production system for this drive unit that is only 50% of the footprint of their previous factory for their drive units. So that shows how much they have changed the way they produce these motors. Now here it's perhaps useful to remember that Musk has said that Tesla's main product is the unique factories it builds, and that requires 10 times more engineering time than the end products Tesla are selling. And he has said that repeatedly, and that can explain, I think, the bulk of those $1,000 savings. It's from all the machines that they have made and how they put these machines together that reduces the factory footprint to 50% of what it used to be, and with brand new machines. That's what really makes it possible to make it at $1,000 and not $2,000. And then finally, I should say that Tesla getting rid of rare earth magnets is mainly about eliminating a huge supply chain risk for Tesla. Because of course Tesla is not dumb, or Musk is not dumb. He also can see how this world is developing, and that we might come in a situation one day where China stops the flow of rare earth elements or magnets with these rare earth elements in them to the West. And then Tesla's business will be ruined if that happened, and because then they can't make their cars. So getting rid of rare earth elements in magnets is a huge elimination of supply chain risk for Tesla, and that's why they have done it. But they have also done it to save those $50 per drive unit for sure. So that's it. And then I have some sources and attribution for all my previous slides, where I have links to everything I've said and postulated here in this presentation. And you can download this presentation with all the links, so you can follow up on them yourself from the link below this video. If you found this video interesting, consider giving it a thumbs up. It'll help my channel. I wish you a healthy and fulfilling life in freedom and democracy, and I hope to see you again for my next video.